What is up, everyone? It is iMagician88, and once again I'm going to be casting another StarCraft 2 Heart of the Swarm game. This is, of course, part of the ASRock Mate Invitational Show Match exhibition series between Australian players and, of course, MVP. So, let's bring up who we're playing with tonight, or today actually. This is of course game 3 in the best of 3 between our blue Zerg player spawning up in the top left hand side, top right hand side actually of Whirlwind LE. It is PiG. And in the bottom right hand side, spawning once again as the red Terran, it is of course our guest of honor. It is IM.Mvp. So we saw some quite amazing games before, with game 1 being a pretty standard game. Game 2, on the other hand, going completely insane, with both players using all the units that they have at their disposal. So that was actually some really exciting stuff. Of course, right now they are 1-1 apiece, so obviously they're probably gonna have to play a little bit more safe, a little bit more standardly, in order to make sure that they don't completely screw up. I believe there was a prize pool of about, or something along the lines of $5,000 if you managed to win against MVP or similar. I can't remember what the exact statistics of that was. But either way, there is a a win reward, and so both players would want to be playing as best as they can. Of course, Pig would want to play as best as he can because he wants to defeat MVP. I think a lot of Australians want to be able to defeat MVP because that would mean that you're really, really good. Of course, MVP is going to be defending his title as a whole, so of course he'll be playing as best as he can to make sure that at least if you manage to beat him, he doesn't go down without a fight. Now, it looks like we're going to be getting the gas relatively. Actually, no, this is pretty normal. This is a pretty normal gas timing. I don't think there's going to be enough for a Reaper or even a Tech Lab or anything anytime soon. We might just be seeing maybe just a 1-Rax. This is actually just a 1-Rax expand right now. We already have 2 hatcheries, the double expand coming down for Pig, as he, even without scouting, he probably realizes that this is a very standard ZVT. Go for the double hatch before pull. Actually, this is in fact double hatch, possibly. That's 58. That's 39. This is in fact the double hatch before pull. Ooh, that's a little bit risky. I've got to say, that's actually a little bit risky. But of course, it looks like MVP is only now going to scout out that Pig has done this, so it looks like Pig is going to be in the clear for just a little bit of time. Of course, MVP could try and apply some pressure with 2 Marines, but I don't think that's going to be able to do anything. So, of course, it would seem most likely that Pig is going to be safe for now. We already have the 2 Queens coming out as well. We should be seeing a 3rd Queen coming out right about now. We have an Overlord coming out, so that's pretty normal. We already have the Factory coming out as well, so this is, of course, going to be extremely standard. I expect to see some Marine mine again, unless, of course, they decide to play it up a little bit like last time. I don't think so though, but one can hope. Right now, both players currently sitting on a pretty even income rate. As you can see right there, this number right here is in fact the income rate. Of course, Pig once again going for a no gas build. Again, I don't particularly like no gas builds as Zerg. I think you should at least get 100 gas for speedlings so that you can get some sort of map control, but it looks like Pig is going to continue just pumping out drones right now. He's not even going to get lings, unless he. Oh, actually, he already has a few lings, but that's it. So he's going to probably go for the old Spanishiwa build of getting 44 drones before teching at all. And I usually do this build, not with the 3rd hatch though, but I usually do this build in like 2v2s and 3v3s and 4v4s because because unless the other guys decide to rush, it often becomes really advantageous to have those 44 drones so that you have the income to start building a whole heap of units very quickly. That being said, of course, if you have 44 drones and no units, then you are so susceptible to rushes, especially early Hellion pressure, especially at the 7-minute mark. So let's see how well that goes. Now this Overlord of course is going to get sniped, but of course every Zerg player has the Suicide Overlord there to just simply scout, and of course Pig has already got another Overlord, so he's not going to be supply blocked anytime soon. That's good play, and a lot of Zerg players need to remember that at the start you do always end up with that Suicide Overlord unless you don't scout. If you don't scout, then of course you don't know what your opponent is doing. You do end up saving an Overlord, but you have to weigh the consequences. Now we do have the third command center already built, so it's now going to be flying all the way there. It is going to be spotted by this Overlord, I do believe. Yes, it will be spotted by this Overlord, so Pig already knows that MVP is ready for a third expansion. Pig, of course, is probably going to respond by dropping down a fourth hatchery very, very soon. Because Zerg, remember, you have to always be one base ahead. Now it looks like I forgot to turn on the game sound, so there we go. So there are some game sound for you, my lovely viewers. However many you may be, or however numerous you may be. Okay, let's move on. Double Evo chamber, so it looks like he's going to go for the melee attack and armor upgrade. So we could be seeing mass sling right now. We don't see a. Do we see a Baneling Nest being dropped out? Ooh, nice scan. Only picks one of the Evo chambers, so MVP is probably not aware that there are double upgrades coming out. Well, we have a macro hatch as well, and we do have the Baneling Nest finally coming down. We also have the Spire, so this is extremely standard play for Pig right now. It's extremely standard unit composition, at least. Lingbane Muta has always been what Zerg players have been using since Heart of the Swarm came out. Interesting use of Hellions for a little bit of harass right now. MVP, of course, probably looking to bring Mech back again like he did last time. Oh no, he didn't bring Mech back. That was my friend Maru. Yeah, bringing Mech back again versus Zerg as Terran. So that's still pretty powerful, although people don't really do it anymore because it's just too damn slow. Like Mutalisk, good unit. So the Spire is almost done. We could be seeing that +1 air attack and then nothing else from the Spire, because it seems a lot of Zerg players, a lot of top Zerg players, we're talking like Pig, Idra, other Zerg players that I may have been watching, I can't remember, but we do see just +1 Zerg air being researched and nothing more. It looks like that poor tree does get roasted. And speaking of roasted trees, a reminder for everyone in Australia, this is bushfire season, so make sure if you are in bushfire prone areas to check the Rural Fire Service website regularly to make sure that you know of any and all announcements being made by the RFS, because bushfires kill people and it is a very, very bad thing. It always happens during summer, and of course if you do see smoke, be aware it could be backburning or it could be a bloody bushfire. Now we do see a huge attack coming down for Pig right now. He's actually going to back out because actually that should be enough to take out all of these units. I mean, the Hellions are not going to do too much splash damage because they only shoot in a line. However, if they were Hellbast, then of course that attack would have failed immediately. And of course, I think Pig already knows that there are mines ready to go. He is actually going to be just like stuffing a couple of Overlords in all of the bases, perhaps pooping creep. Yes, he is going to poop creep to try and deny those bases as much as possible. We have a pretty big army right now, and of course these mutas are going to be there to help, I reckon. There's quite a lot of links. I think Pig should try and make a few more Banelings, I believe. That would be a pretty decent option. And we do have this one missile turret there. It's not going to be able to do anything. Should be able to take out one Mutalisk. Doesn't even take out a Mutalisk, so of course these mutas are going to be in there ready to go. And right now, good shot from Pig, sniping off one of the reactors. Does in fact slow down the marine production. In fact, if I don't even remember, I think if you have two marines being built at the same time and the reactor falls, then of course one of the marines stops building, I guess. I mean, unless I don't know how that works, but it's a pretty interesting mechanic. Now these paintings don't even have speed. I don't know if Pig forgot to build speed, because he does have the lair. He does have a lair. He has a lot of overseers coming in too. we have the drilling claws coming in now for Pig for MVP. So this is actually going to be really good for him, as he is going to be able to borrow those mines super duper quickly. So in case of any attack, he can just go click, and I think it's E. Yes, he can just click E, and then he can just launch a huge AoE attack against all of these Zerg units. There's quite a lot of Banelings now, but only the centrifugal hooks only come in right now, and it looks like it looks like Pig's actually going to try and come in for a sick flank. But of course, MVP's units are just a little bit spread out right now. These mines are actually going to do a lot of damage to these Zerg forces right now, and these Banelings are just going to crash into all of those Marines, and there should be enough. Although because the Banelings don't have speed, they're just taking way too long to deal damage, and the Marines are just going to be able to do a lot of damage, but they have to run away right now because the supply count is just a little bit too much for MVP right now. Although the Marines are still quite a good unit, they have always been a good unit. They're going to be able to take out a lot of those Mutalisks, but of course the Banelings should be there to handle everything else. But I think what MVP needs to do right now is he needs to try and attack before centrifugal hooks comes in, because right now the Banelings are just at such a massive disadvantage because they're just so slow. Like, units with speed have the speed upgrade for a reason, because without the speed upgrade they are slow. And of course, oh no, it looks like Pig didn't manage to cancel that hatchery, so he does end up losing 300 minerals right there. Although MVP does end up losing the tiny force, it's not particularly that much of a problem because Terran do pride themselves in doing multi-prong attacks and drops. Of course, if you save those drops, that would be ideal, but if you don't save those drops, then fair enough. Looks like MVP currently on creep duty right now, and these two queens are managing to hold out for just a little bit too long, to be honest. I didn't realize they'd be able to stay there for that length of time. And we have 11 Banelings coming in right now, and it looks like Pig is saving up for maybe more Mutalisks. He does have a lot of minerals and a lot of gas. He needs to... Oh, he actually is a supply block right now, so maybe he needs to build some more Banelings, I believe. That would be nice, because if he can take out all the Marines, then perhaps the Winnow Mines as well, then the Mutalisks will be able to just simply go to town on all of these units. Now, these 3 Marines are actually going to scare everything away right now, because Marines are pretty good units, but oh no, this huge force, it's actually going to sneak right by. Oh my god, it's actually going to attack right into the base of MVP, but unfortunately the Winnow Mines actually don't do that much damage right now, so of course they do get taken out by the Overseers, and all of these Mutalisks, and the Bailey's going to come in and just going to break through the entire wall of the Terran players' army. Is this going to be a base race? I do believe so. The Marines are going to come in now. They're going to completely ignore the fact that there's a huge army of Mutalisks with actually +2 attack, so that's actually pretty surprising for Pig right now. And MVP is actually going to come in now. His Marines are at 2-2, so of course this Baneling army is actually going to try and defend as much as he can. The Banelings are out. They do have centrifugal hooks, but unfortunately, oh no, there's so many Winnow Mines! But they don't hit the Banelings, so the Marines are actually going to be completely slaughtered by those Banelings, although there are quite a few Marines left. Meanwhile, the Lings and the Mutalisks of Pig, I think Pig is just microing a little bit too much. He's actually stopping the Mutalisks from attacking, which is actually not a good idea. Meanwhile, the Marines are just dealing so much damage because they're just so cost effective against things like Zerglings and drones mainly. Now it looks like there's actually going to be a lot of missile turrets, and this is actually going to be a really bad position. But I think Pig should be able to take out these missile turrets, no problem. Does stop the attacks of the Mutalisks against the buildings, but what was that? I think a couple of Baileys managed to connect with a lot of Marines, so these medevacs need to run home now. I think Pig actually might have it. It is going to be GG from MVP, and Pig has actually won the best of 3. And wow, that was actually a pretty awesome stuff, and a really good game from Pig, actually managing to seal the 2-1 against MVP in this invitation exhibition. And of course, good stuff from both players. Really good play. So anyway, that's it from me for today. Thanks for watching. Subscribe to my channel for more hot StarCraft 2 action. You can also follow me on Twitter at Magician88. You can also follow me on twitch.tv/Magician88, where I stream, albeit very rarely. So until next time, I'll see you guys later. Thanks for watching. Bye bye.